All right, let's jump right into this explainer and unpack Palantir's highly unusual growth model. If you follow enterprise software, you already know Palantir isn't your typical tech giant. Born from a CIA investment, they are now aggressively pushing into the commercial sector. But what's truly fascinating here isn't just the software they build, it's how they're actually embedding themselves into these companies. We're going to look closely at their top 9 investments, acquisitions, and strategic deals to decode a playbook that's quietly reshaping multiple industries.
So here's the big question analysts keep throwing around. Are companies signing contracts just to secure Palantir's investment cash? Critics are wondering if these targets genuinely need platforms like Foundry at such a massive scale, or if they're just signing agreements to get the capital they need to go public. As we dig into the numbers, you'll see why this is either a stroke of genius for ecosystem expansion or a highly aggressive way to just buy revenue.
To figure this out, we're going to deconstruct their playbook across 5 key areas. 1. The software plus equity playbook. 2. Healthcare and biotech bets. 3. Robotics and smart mobility. 4. Strategic defense AI partners. And 5. The internal AI engine.
Starting things off with Section 1, the software plus equity playbook, or as I like to call it, the Trojan horse strategy.
Unlike your traditional software vendor who just hands over some licenses and calls it a day, Palantir does something totally different. They combine an equity investment with a massive, long-term software contract. Basically, they're acting as both a strategic investor and a critical infrastructure provider at the exact same time. By doing this, they effectively lock a growing enterprise into their ecosystem right from day one, ensuring platforms like Foundry or AIP become the digital DNA of that company's operations.
And the sheer scale of this is just wild. During the SPAC boom, Palantir poured over $300 million into more than 20 SPAC deals to lock in these enterprise customers. At its historical peak, these SPAC-linked clients represented roughly 18% of Palantir's commercial revenue. When you're seeing an average contribution of around $7 million a year from each of these deals, it really shows you just how effective this Trojan horse strategy was at rapidly expanding their commercial footprint.
It's honestly a brilliant little cyclical workflow. First, Palantir steps in with critical capital via a PIPE investment. Second, the target company successfully merges with a SPAC so they can go public. And third, right alongside that funding, the target signs a massive multi-year subscription to use Palantir's Foundry or AIP. You provide the capital and you instantly create the software dependency.
Moving right along to Section 2, Healthcare and Biotech Bets, Embedding AI in Life Sciences.
Let's see how this actually plays out in the real world, starting with healthcare. By backing digital-first companies like Babylon Health through SPAC financing, Palantir wasn't just looking for a quick bump on the stock price. They combined a software partnership with an equity investment so Babylon would use Palantir's data infrastructure. It acts as a massive billboard to the rest of the medical industry, essentially proving their software can handle extreme clinical complexities and the demands of precision medicine.
Now, the absolutely crucial takeaway here is the financial ratio. Just look at the biotech firm Celularity. Palantir put in $20 million, but Celularity agreed to a 5-year, $40 million software partnership. Or take Rovent Sciences, a $30 million investment from Palantir, exchanged for a $39 million software commitment. The target companies are agreeing to spend far more on the software than Palantir initially invested in them, which creates these guaranteed, long-term, recurring revenue streams.
All right, Section 3, Robotics and Smart Mobility, Automating the Physical World.
In the smart mobility space, Palantir is using these strategic investments to monetize vehicle telemetry data and weave their software directly into advanced manufacturing ecosystems. Because as vehicles and industrial machines become more and more heavily sensor-laden, Palantir wants its Foundry and Apollo platforms to be the absolute engine that processes, analyzes, and acts on that staggering amount of telemetry data in real time.
The deal they struck with Sarcos Robotics is a perfect mirror of those biotech bets. They locked in a $42 million revenue stream over 6 years in exchange for a $21 million investment, firmly securing their place in military and industrial robotics. They also backed Lilium for electric aircraft manufacturing logistics and Wejo for connected car analytics tied straight into the GM ecosystem. These aren't just random one-off investments, They strategically positioned Palantir right at the bleeding edge of autonomous systems and next-generation transportation.
Which brings us to Section 4, Strategic Defense AI Partners, the absolute backbone of their ecosystem.
Because Palantir isn't just selling analytics dashboards anymore, right? They are literally embedding their AI into the battlefield, and you can see that with their massive contract to deliver Titan vehicles to the U.S. Army. Titan is this mobile command vehicle equipped with AI designed to connect every sensor to every shooter across the modern battle space. With a $178 million Phase 3 contract for 10 prototype ground stations, they're taking their software, putting it on wheels, and deploying it straight to the tactical edge.
And to build true AI ecosystem dominance, they've teamed up with hardware kings like NVIDIA to build sovereign AI infrastructure on advanced Blackwell systems. Plus, to really show their ambition to conquer the industrial and defense sectors, they're building deep strategic partnerships with giants like GE Aerospace, Ondas, Centrus Energy, Worldview, and LG CNS. They are making absolutely sure their software is deployed everywhere, from the military front lines to the factory floor.
All of this perfectly illustrates their ultimate ambition. They don't just want to be some vendor on a spreadsheet. They want to be the default operating system that powers literally everything, from hospital clinical trials to automotive telemetry, right up to the advanced targeting systems of the U.S. military.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, the internal AI engine, funding the future.
Right now, Palantir is sitting on an absolute mountain of cash and securities, somewhere between $8 and $9.5 billion. That is enough to buy a small country, or at the very least, completely self-fund their entire technological roadmap. Because they generate massive free cash flow, they have total strategic flexibility. They can afford to make these highly aggressive PIPE investments purely because they have the cash on hand to be long-term holders of that equity.
And when you break down their 2024 revenue, you can see this strategy is totally working. Commercial revenue now sits at 46.3%, bringing it nearly on par with their massive government contracts, which, by the way, are seeing their own incredible growth, like an 84% year-over-year jump in government revenue. That commercial bet, the whole Trojan horse strategy of embedding their software, is clearly bearing fruit and aggressively diversifying their income streams.
What you really need to take away from this pristine balance sheet is that it lets them avoid heavy debt or dilution. All that strong free cash flow gets pumped directly back into expanding their artificial intelligence platform, their Gotham defense software, and their classified cloud infrastructure. They are entirely self-funding their own future dominance, and that is a massive advantage.
Which leaves us with one final thought based on everything we've unpacked in this explainer today. By locking emerging industries, from cell therapy biotech to electric aviation, into their software ecosystem from day one, through these strategic investments, Palantir might just be architecting the future of the entire enterprise landscape. So are they just selling software, or are they buying the future? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and definitely keep an eye on how these strategic bets play out over the next decade.
AIP! Foundry! Apollo! Over 20 SPACs, that's the equity move. Long-term contracts got them locked in the groove. Palantir stacking paper, $9 billion in reserve. Self-funded vision, that's a power play I observe. NVIDIA partnership, sovereign AI coming next. Gotham and Foundry on the Blackwell text. Building the future with that Foundry tech. Yeah, the future with that Foundry tech. Yeah, PLTR on the ticker, stacking bigger. The master plan is getting quicker. We flip the script with SPAC attacks, a different kind of paper chase. Got 20 plus companies locked in the data space. That's software plus the equity, building up the legacy. Foundry got them on a 10-year destiny. Then you add an NVIDIA, it's a new crusade. Sovereign AI moves, watch the empires made. Over 8 billion in cash, we ain't playing games!
Yeah, word up, PLTR. My enterprise mindset is like a SPAC flight, a new asset type. Got 20 plus locked in with the long-term contract script that's airtight. Foundry's the backbone, the software plus equity axiom. Built a whole ecosystem, we expanding past the max again. From Babylon Health to Celularity, mastering the cellular clarity. Sarcos Robotics, Lilium's flights, we dominate with sheer tenacity. Peace, ayo, peace.
AIP, Foundry, Apollo! Over 20 SPACs, that's the equity move. Long-term contracts got them locked in the groove. Palantir stacking paper, $9 billion in reserve. Self-funded vision, that's a power play I observe. NVIDIA partnership, sovereign AI coming next. Gotham and Foundry on the Blackwell text. Building the future with that Foundry tech. Yeah, the future with that Foundry tech.